and I both saw Avatar: Way of Water yesterday. Is it Way of Water or The Way of Water?
I believe it's Way of Water. Let me. Oh, it's The Way of Water.
Okay, all right, The Way of Water. The Way of Water. And I've spoken on it about it briefly on some other YouTube channels. This is our social reaction. We're not going zero spoilers. We will not talk about the story with any level of depth. Very brief on story at all. So we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about. We'll give you our early reaction. You might have heard mine on another show. I really want to hear what Alan thinks. But before he does that, Alan, I received a package addressed to Alan.
Oh,
you see this? Can you see? Okay, cool.
That looks very festive.
It looks festive. It's for you. It says to Alan, but should I open it?
Well, who's it from?
Well, I'm going to just pull this out of here. It's heavy, really heavy. Oh, Alan, this is for you. This is for you. It's a bundle of cash. I don't know how much money that is. It's a lot. It says to Alan from Disney.
Avatar was great. It's going to make $10 billion.
Look at this, to Alan from Disney. And that's got to be about $100,000 there. Like, look at that. Yeah. Look at that cash. But
I would suggest everyone, when Avatar opens, see it 5 times over the weekend, and don't lay him out and go to a matinee. Pay full price, please.
Look, Alan is a fan of Disney. Alan is not a shill. Alan's opinions are Alan's opinions. He is like, I am predisposed to like movies made by David Lynch or movies made by John Waters or Martin Scorsese or Quentin Tarantino. There's certain filmmakers I like. There are certain genres I like. I like low budget, cheesy horror, like trauma movies. If they're done well and I'm entertained, good. So I think we all have our personal biases. And I don't want to speak for you, but you're a Disney fan.
Yeah. I've been a Disney fan since I would say birth. My earliest recollection of ever going to a movie theater was seeing Mary Poppins. And then I've seen $1 Million Duck in the theater. Hey now. Saw Pete's Dragon many times in the theater.
But I really want to hear your honesty.
I've seen Song of the South in the theater. How's that? How's that for cred?
All right. Okay, cool. But Alan, tell us your early reaction to the film.
Yeah. So I'll just say this. I liked it a lot better than the first movie. I did enjoy myself. But throughout the movie, I kept thinking to myself, how is this movie at one point the top grossing film of all time? I had a good time. I understand why people like it. I just don't understand it just seems somewhat overrated to me. But it's weird that the discussion about this movie will not be whether it's good or whether it's bad, but whether it becomes the 4th highest grossing film of all time. And that's the weird thing about this particular movie. Strip away all of that, I had a great time. The first movie was about the military takeover of Pandora. This one scales that down a lot, and this movie is about family, which is something that I had to say was quite refreshing. This movie stars, sorry, I have to actually look up these things. Sam Worthington as Jake once again. He's the male leader of his family. He is a warrior. He is the one who defends his family. And then you have Zoe Saldana, who is the mother, who is sort of the nurturer of the family. And it was weird. You have 2 teen boys who want to be great warriors and protectors of the family, and 2 daughters who want to save animals. It was weird and refreshing all at the same time to see kind of a movie that just went back to old style storytelling, old style traditional values. And there it was. I'll say this. I think, for me to say that this was better than the first one, I think it's a matter of preference. I think I like the water effects here. I like the water landscape a whole lot better than I do the forest. And that's a personal preference growing up on the beach as long as I have. So, I think this movie has a good shot of making a lot of money. It's weird because if it makes $1 billion, it will still be considered a failure. But I think, and I'll just say this last: if you were never a fan of Avatar, the first one, there's no hope for you for this one. So sit this one out. But I think this will appeal to a new generation of viewers. So I'm generally positive about Avatar: The Way of Water.
Well, my opinion is a little bit more nuanced. Okay, because I need to give the context for this. I saw this at a early screening. Which I think we were seeing it around the same time, you and I. I was in a theater that seats about 500, and there were about 20 of us in the theater, maybe 25 tops.
No kidding.
Okay.
Mine was packed.
Yours was packed. Mine was kind of empty on a Tuesday afternoon in Burbank, and the publicist working on the film had to come inside and tell people to stop laughing, because seriously, some of the dialogue in this thing is so bad. It's laughably laugh out loud, terrible dialogue. Okay. James Cameron, not known for his dialogue. Some of the things that happen in this movie are so incredibly stupid and dumb that you just have to shake your head and go, what? And it just it made me just shake my head. It was just utterly ridiculous. It has all of the flaws of a James Cameron movie, which is bad dialogue, just excuses for action scenes, and then a third act that kind of drags on and on, where as soon as you think it's over, it's not over, and you think it's over and it's not over. It's also like James Cameron threw in the blender all of his best work, everything from Aliens to Titanic to the first Avatar to a little bit of Terminator in there. It's every one of his movies just thrown in a blender, and there it all is. And it's part of it, because it's a 3 hour and 10-minute running time, it feels a bit episodic in the sense that about every 30 minutes it kind of pivots to a different thing. You could literally chop it up into 6 30-minute episodes and it would be like a season of a show. And so I've got a lot of nitpicks and flaws, including things I can't talk about now because they happen in the third act. There are just some logic things that doesn't, just a lot of things that don't make sense. And you are going to be able to nitpick this movie to death. And I'm telling you, you're going to see a lot of people talking about how bad this movie is on YouTube. A lot. Okay. And I would agree with all of those criticisms. But I sat there and there was a friend of mine she's a critic, and we kept looking at each other like, is this as dumb as I think it is? Yeah. It's also, part of it feels like a YA novel, like a young adult, because a lot of the concerns of the characters it focuses on Jake Sully's kids. He has 2 sons and he has 2 daughters. And so it focuses, there are parts of the movie where the story is just about the kids for the next 30 minutes, right? Where it kind of goes off on their adventures. And it's definitely kind of dumbed down for kids. I'd say that parts of this movie are specifically made for children, in spite of everything that bothered me about the movie. All the stuff I thought was bad, all the stuff I thought was cringe, all the stuff I thought was just kind of lazy. I had a great time watching this movie. I had a great time. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing it again. And let me tell you why this movie stands out. Let me tell you why this movie stands out amongst everything else that's out there. We have just been inundated with agenda-driven films. And James Cameron has made no secret that all of his movies have some sort of message. Titanic is female empowerment, coming of age story. A lot of his films deal with ecological issues. The first,
and you're talking very liberal messages too.
Right. The first Avatar is about leaning into colonizers and plundering of resources. Right, they're getting the unobtainium, and this is about whaling. It is really specifically leans into, this is a message about whaling.
Don't kill whales.
Yeah, exactly. But what I loved about the film is the fact that All of the characters are blue. I mean, they're blue, right? And you've got like the forest people, which is Jake Sully and his family. You have the water people,
The
right?
reef people. Yeah.
The reef people. They live with, by the water, and they spend time. They're even like, you may notice this in the trailers. There's a species, they're slightly different species. They have thicker tails that are like fins, and their arms are like fins. They have like this flesh here that's like more like a fin to excel in the water. But what the movie, if you look at it at its core, it does something that other movies we've seen this year do not do. It's everything in it is relatable. It's about family, not only about the thing that stood out to me, a strong father, the patriarch of the family, Jake Sully, his wife, who is she's strong in her own way. And it's about relating to the family members. They fight amongst each other, the kids fight, and everything in it is relatable, from family dynamics to coming of age to moving. It's a traumatic thing for a child to move from one place to another, have to make all new friends. Suddenly you're being bullied, then suddenly those bullies become your friends. And everything in the movie, if you break it down, James Cameron is tapping into something. It's something that resonates with everyone who's a human being, regardless of what color you are, what ethnicity, what gender. It doesn't matter. At its heart, it's a story about a family. There are just amazing father-son interactions, mother-daughter interactions. And I haven't seen a movie this year that's done that. And this movie felt like it was made in another time. I mean, obviously he started working on it like right after the first movie. So it's been around, but it felt like, I'm not comparing it to Top Gun Maverick, because different movie, but Top Gun Maverick is a popcorn blockbuster movie, and so is Avatar: The Way of Water.
Mm-hmm.
It is a popcorn blockbuster, the kind we used to all love to go to, and we all could see something of ourselves in those characters. They don't need to look like us, but I can relate to all the trials and tribulations that the characters are going through. I was a kid who was also bullied and had to deal with that. And so seeing these kids kind of have to deal with it. And then even I've also been a parent of a child who's been bullied, and I've had to deal with that. Okay. So I can't wait to see this movie again. I really want to see it with a crowd. Oh, and the other thing I didn't bring up, the action in this film is spectacular.
Yeah.
The underworld of the reef people. Ryan Coogler should be embarrassed for what he did with the blue people.
I was just thinking the same thing.
What?
This should have been the Atlanteans.
It's so well done. Like it's like you're like sitting there. I'm like, okay, I'm just captivated by the imagery. I know it looks like, you ever see like those screensavers that are like being on vacation at the beach and you've got beautiful imagery.
Mm-hmm.
This whole movie was that.
Yeah.
The whole movie was that. So I hope this movie makes $3 billion, because this movie, it's not, movies have messages. Fine. The messages of this movie are things that all of us can relate to. Family. I will do anything to protect my family. Mm-hmm. You come after my family, I'm going full Liam Neeson. And that's what I loved about this film is Jake Sully's trying to protect his family. He's trying to do the right thing. Part of it, the beginning of the movie, we're not going to talk about any specific story stuff, but it almost felt like, oh, this is like an old cowboys and Indians movie, mm-hmm. but we're on the Indian side this time. The Indians are the good guys.
Yeah. Not to spoil it, but there are two ways that he protects his family, and that evolves from one way to the other, and at the heart, that's kind of the message of the film, and it's also the lead into the third film.
Yeah, it directly, there are loose ends that are not tied up at the end of this movie. Now, having said that, there's even more things that bug me. I think there's one particular character that's sort of annoying.
It's not Spider, is it?
Oh my God. Yes, it is. There's a character named Spider that all I could think was Chaka from Land of the Lost. Am I wrong?
No, no. Now that you mentioned it, yeah.
It's Chaka from Land of the Lost.
I just kept thinking Baby Tarzan. I mean, literally
Yeah.
Baby Tarzan from the Disney movie Tarzan.
Yeah. It was just, there's some things in it that are dumb, right? And cringe. Having said that, put all that stuff aside, because these are almost like the things that James Cameron is bad at, but the other things are so good in comparison. Like the action sequences in this film are so big, like
Mhm.
the new vehicles, the new tech, like what's happening on Earth. I think we may end up going to Earth at some point in this film series, but it the ending directly sets
Mhm.
up things that are going to happen in a third and or fourth film. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a decent cliffhanger. I will say that.
Well, I wouldn't describe it so much as a cliffhanger as not everything was 100% resolved.
But at least you know the direction of where the third movie is going to go, and excited enough about to wonder where Cameron's going to take it. The other thing is, I think this is, I may be wrong, but this may be the closest thing Cameron does in terms of making a preteen age movie. And I would, I think I will try to convince my daughter to see this movie.
I think it is a family movie. It's a movie
Mhm.
that, look, if you have young children, I would say probably,
Yeah,
you know,
it has James Cameron violence in it, but not to the degree of the first movie.
there's one really kind of horrific violent thing that gets a laugh, actually.
Yeah.
It gets a laugh that's pretty
But I
violent.
mean, like the first movie was violent. It was devastatingly violent,
Yeah.
especially what they do to the forest. This one tones it back, and I think hits it in that kids realm, or the older kids realm.
Yeah. Well, they do dial it back somewhat compared to the first film, but it is violent. I will say this. This is a movie families will want to see together. The
Mhm.
thing against it is 3 hour and 10-minute running time
Oh yeah,
is a mistake. It's a
yeah.
mistake. I-
I don't think it's a spoiler, but that first hour is spent in the forest, and when the movie is called The Way of Water, you realize, wow, we still got a long way to go with this movie.
Well, look, I did look at my watch, but I was also trying to find out like when is the best time to go to the bathroom, because I did go to the
Mhm.
bathroom twice. Some of you may know I have one kidney. I was born that way. It's rare, but my superpower, because I'm a mutant, is that I urinate 3 times more than the average person. So I don't know if I go to Professor X's school. Uh, my name would be the urinator. I think that would be that would be my superhero name. In any case, I can't wait to see this movie with a crowd who paid to see it. The screening that I am going into is an IMAX 3D screening that
Mhm.
is nearly completely full. And
Did you see it
I,
on IMAX
I
or?
I I did not see it in IMAX. I saw it in Dolby Digital.
Okay, that's how I saw it. Yeah, the it was weird. I think the clarity quality was inconsistent. Like
Mm.
some scenes look super clear, while others felt, a little film fuzzy. Um, that's my nitpick of the movie.
And just before we go to comments, I just want to say one last thing on this is that this is why I go to the movies. I want escapism. I
Hmm.
want escapism from the real world. I don't want to think about real world concerns. I don't want to, be thinking about the politics or what's happening in the culture now. I just want to go to a movie and be taken away.
Hmm.
That's all I want. And this movie does that. It does what a movie should be doing, which is taking you somewhere, making you feel something. Images and sounds on a screen, not to go all Nicole Kidman AMC, but it's like the fact that that can make you feel something and get a reaction is that's why I go to the
Yeah,
movies is for that. And it did it so well.
yeah,
I'm really curious. Like, look, I'm no as Gary Beekler uh, coined this term. It's Gary Beekler, Nerdstradamus. I'm no Nerdstradamus. Gary is Nerdstradamus. But I don't know how well this movie's going to do. It could in
yeah.
fact flop. But you know what? My gut tells me this will succeed for the same reasons that Top Gun Maverick is still in
Mhm.
theaters, because it tells a story in a way that like we
We
want to go
haven't seen
have
it
an
in a long time.
and we haven't seen it in a long time. It's that popcorn movie. Take me away from my normal concerns and and let's go with it.
Yeah.
I didn't never.
I mean, I have to say it again. It's been a long time since we've seen a traditional family portrayed on screen in a positive, healthy way. And the other thing is, the politics is so not annoying that I was happy to have gotten as little as I have. Yes, colonizers. Yeah, we're all colonizers, and
Well,
Wales. I love Wales, and I don't want to see Wales
look,
die. So
there are good humans among all the humans. Although notably, unless I missed something, all of the people from Earth are white, with the exception of one Asian woman.
yeah, and I think the Asian woman dies again in this
Alan,
movie.
no
Oh, I'm
spoilers.
sorry, I just spoiled it.
No, she's going to be just fine. Get the action figure.
Yeah,
But it just
she
what
was
I'm
the
saying
one
is
with the parachute.
what my point is I didn't feel at any point while I'm watching the movie that there was a checklist.
Yeah.
I didn't feel there was any checklist with like, well, we have to have a couple that's like this. We have to have this person here. There is the actress, the woman name escapes me. She's the wife in The Sopranos, Tony Soprano's wife.
Yeah, Edie Falco.
Edie Falco is the general. She was just okay. She was fine.
She wasn't used well, but
Right.
she's bad. Yeah.
But my understanding is that they did film Avatar 2 and 3 back to back.
Yeah, in fact, I believe 4 has already been. I think 4 has completed principal photography as well.
Right. It's but yeah, I can't talk enough about the action scenes. They're just epic and spectacular.
Yeah, it's a compacted James Cameron action film, I think.
Right. Well, let's go to your comments. I look.
And we have over 1,300 people in the chat.
Over 1,300 people watching live. Please smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and go to my Twitter at @Gore and like the tweet about make Marvel male again. Just because I want a better ratio on that.
Well, speaking of a male movie,
what
we have it right here.
What is it?
Avatar: The Way of Water.
Yeah. Okay.